Alright, guys. I have woken up. I was going to play some ladder, but it turns out the grand finals is still going for the Monday Night Weekly, so I've hopped in live to cast this. MAXPAX is in the bottom left, Cure in the top right. Now, I believe Cure is in the upper bracket, and MAXPAX comes from the lowest, guys. And apparently, they've just changed the format again on this tournament. So, you guys can let me know in the chat, because I've literally just tuned in. Did Cure and MAXPAX already play? Because I believe MAXPAX needs to win this best of 5, and then that will activate a final best of 3 to actually win the tournament, whereas Cure just needs to win the best of 5 because he hasn't lost a series this tournament, whereas MAXPAX has. MAXPAX has had to fight his way back through that lower bracket. If they've already played so far, then obviously that means Cure is the one who knocked him down to the lower bracket. Otherwise, I'd love to hear people tell me who did knock who to the lower bracket. Did Clem not play this week? Because I actually hopped on EU when people told me this finals was running, and I was going, where the hell is Clem? I hopped on EU. I thought it was going to be Clem versus MAXPAX because they so regularly play in this grand finals. Turns out Christianer won the PvP. He's a menace, dude. Christian is really nasty. Christian has always had a very, like, cheesy, decisive tack for just knowing how to beat people. Like, he's always been very good at just knowing how to get in there and catch them off. Speaking of getting caught off, Cure with his depot down. Absolute disaster. He's going to lose the SCV on the starport and another SCV. MAXPAX will get a full scout here, and he's not going to save the Adept, of course, but 2 SCVs, massive build time on the starport delayed. Huge opening. Absolutely huge opening. The Hellions are on the outside of the wall. Cure with some very basic mechanical mistakes here. And that's 3 SCVs down. MAXPAX with a big warning of what's going on. A lot of players would build a shield battery at each base when they see a Reactor Hellion build like this. MAXPAX is actually going to attack with this Adept, and this is called throwing one of your only defensive units into the bin. Cure should not lose that Hellion, and he will not. And that's it. I don't know why you would throw that Adept away. Now MAXPAX is going to have to full wall the front in order to stop these Hellions running. And it is going to be 2 Hellions getting repaired, 4 Widow Mine drop behind it. I think MAXPAX should still be in a very good spot, though. 3 SCVs that early is a disaster. Looks like Clem didn't play this week, Pig. Okay, thank you, guys. Good to know. Clem giving us a chance to see some interesting matchups for once in the European Cup. I really feel, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I do think the Pigstarcraft weekly has actually had the best games in the last, 6 months out of all the weekly cups. Don't get me wrong, the Wardy Cup can be really good as well, because that's like the Korean time zone one. This is the European one, the Monday Night Weekly, run by TKL, the lovely French caster. But I don't know why. I think there's just something about the time zone of the Pigstarcraft, where maybe it's because we get MAXPAX and Clem at 5 a.m. by the time the finals happen, so they're a bit tired and they're a bit more beatable. So they don't always win. But then you've still got the matchup of those two playing against, a bunch of the best Koreans like Hero, Solar, Dark, Dion. Well, not Dark, sorry. I just missed Dark. I imagine a Dark still playing each week. Good Widow Mine drop, man. 2 probes and a Stalker already. Hellions are going to come in and get at least 2 probes. Stalkers do clean it up. Still 2 of these here. He's going to move forward, does blink. Oh, that Widow Mine drop takes a lot of damage, but doesn't go down yet. And he's going to need to wait for blink again. And there we go. Blink's ready. And he does blink away. Hot tip, guys, if you're not that good with your timing, don't stand on top of the Widow Mine when you blink. Stand further away, because it gives you more time while the missile's traveling for you to blink while it's in traversal without it actually connecting. And that's just a small tip for anyone out there, because I know a lot of players struggle with that timing. And the way MAXPAX does it, where he walks right on top, he's okay to do that because he understands the exact, second when the Widow Mine's fired and when to blink away. But he is essentially making it harder for himself than it needs to. Cure doing some really good harassment. Stalker counter pressure comes in. Does lose a Stalker. That's 2 Stalkers down so far. Beautiful tank positioning there. Natural's got double bunker and a tank as well. Beautiful play. Looks like the Widow Mine drop does go down, though. And MAXPAX has a third finally started. So I think Cure's in a very playable position right now. Possibly an advantaged position with how much denial on the mining time he's had. But Stim's just started. It's going to be a little while. Interestingly, there's a reactor on this starport, guys. Does anyone know why there's a reactor on that starport this early? That's very early to have a reactor on the starport. Seems like he pulled the trigger on that a bit fast. It's just going to idle for a while, because he wants to have 2 barracks on tech labs, not reactors. So the starport's just going to chill for a bit. 5 SCVs do go down. Very necessary damage for MAXPAX. That combined with maybe, I would say, chrono probes. And wow! I was about to say, but MAXPAX almost never chronos probes. He always focuses more on Stalker aggression rather than economic focus. But this time, does do it. Good probe pull away, only loses 1 worker. Recall on the Stalkers. Does he throw a spite turret on the way out to get 1 or 2 more probes? No, he does not. Usually you can just leave 1 or 2 stalkers on the edge. We'll stop him from coming back in to drop those auto turrets, but that in of itself is a bit of a nuisance. Observer gets scanned, Prism gets pushed away. And as I said, the reactor's crazy early on that. He's just starting Medivacs now. But Stim Shields +1, Marauders, Marines, all on the way. 3rd Command Center started. Now he says, okay, now it's time to go for the double Medivac. The 4th and 5th barracks on the natural. And Cure loves his standard setup, doesn't he? Cure is the king of standard in this matchup. That Stalker could move there and get a shot off against the Raven, I'm quite sure. They're both just kind of staring at each other. Do you think they're having a chat, guys? Is this kind of like Christmas Day, World War I in the trenches? You know, maybe they're throwing some gifts to each other. They're like, damn, man, your can of preserved beef is tastier than ours. It's really different type of salty meat they're feeding you guys. Yum, yum. Share some of the rat skewers they're catching in the trenches as well, that sort of thing. Of course, Protoss don't have mouths, so maybe a bit harder to relate in that regard. Protoss going to get a few shots on this medevac. Cure trying to trap the Stalkers outside the base, of course. Continuing to commit when spotted. He wants to go hide in the corner. And I think he's got Stim with a lot of Marauders, so... Oh, yeah. He could potentially get 1 or 2, but is not wanting to throw Marauders away. Zealot's going to come in now with charge. Storm's almost ready. Cure's got a great supply setup, but that Siege Tank's easy pickings. Widowmine's behind the gas, not going to work out. Cure a bit slow to respond here. Prism does take a Widowmine, but, you know, 1 Zealot, a bit of damage on the Prism. Gets a bit of mining time, big distraction. The Raven does take a fair bit of damage. I think Cure must have F2'd that home and then sent it back to the dead space. Gotta leave. I mean, to not leave either a Viking or 8 Marines and a medevac in the main against MAXPAX. Clem has taught us. I mean, I think this is... It's one of these things, right? Like, MAXPAX has taught us, as a Protoss, if you don't leave 3 Stalkers and an Observer in your main, then you're just stupid and you're going to die to Banshees. Like, just leave it. If you're not hallucination scouting, you haven't checked what the Terran's doing, just do that. Likewise, from, you know, whenever you take your 3rd onwards, leave 8 Marines and a medevac in your main base, or that Warp Prism is going to give you nightmares. Okay, this is a good army. Honestly, I think Cure can shut this down if he gets his Marauders in front of his tanks. Because then any charges will just finish here, and then you can start a step back to the safety of the tanks. Cure's got to move forward. Marines need to get out of there. The Marauders can tank a bit of Storm. The Marines not so much. And you can see he's looking for that worker line control as MAXPAX. Really good Storm usage. Zealots in the natural are tearing it up right now. Cure's multitasking, failing a little bit. This is a huge mistake for Cure. I can't believe MAXPAX is able to bully him right now. MAXPAX has almost no regular army, and yet he's storming down the army. And Cure is in trouble. This first game is on Central US, guys. It looks like MAXPAX did win the coin toss at the start of the game. That was really slow reactions for Cure. That's the scary point in the game, and it seemed like Cure didn't quite realize the danger of that much Storm that early. Probably didn't even know Storm was there because he'd been stuck defending. But just not noticing those Zealots in the natural and letting MAXPAX take position on the 3rd, big mistakes. All right, guys, we've got MAXPAX in the bottom right side of the map. Top left is Cure. Cure's gone for the gas first. Barracks into eBay block. He's dodged the probe. Most players really good at checking for these eBay blocks these days. I think MAXPAX is one of the few who almost doesn't care and is so happy to just calmly take his 3rd. And no one's... The last time I saw MAXPAX actually, like, die from having an exposed 3rd base or fall massively behind from it was a while ago. So he's going to come down now, and he's going to go Cybercore. And he's like, he's already clicked to his 3rd. You see? He wasn't even going towards the natural immediately. And he's even rallied to the left 3rd because he figures, oh, you're already over here. He knows. this is just something he expects. He's like, fine, I'll take a base over here. I don't care, dude. I got Warfins. I got shield batteries. I'm good. Yeah, I'm not American. We don't use hard R's because we're not racist in Australia, Victor Charlie. I know Americans get very surprised when people speak differently to them, but we're very anti-racist in Australia. It's a dumb joke. Yeah. So what a lot of people, and even some people in America, if you go to New York, Boston, there's a bunch of different accents in America where people do this as well. So a lot of people will add exclamation marks, will add flavor to how we speak. In the South, actually, they elongate a lot of vowels. So what we'll do is, yeah, we'll often elongate a lot of vowels, and it's very different because the very like generic standard American accent, most people find very obnoxious. You see, you guys find it very odd when we do that, but you guys just raise the level, the decibels, times like 100 for exclamation. which is why people get so off-put when Americans are always speaking so, like, why are they so loud? And then you guys are like, why are you guys going, oh no? We're like, and it's like, dude, we didn't even say, oh no. In our mind, it's just N-O exclamation mark. But for you guys, it's like capital N-O. But yeah, people speak differently. It's wild. Command Center comes up. Reaper's there as well. Twilight Council coming down. Quite a few probes over there. I do like the southern one, though. What is it? Like, the classic is like, what have you done to my boy? Like, that one. My poor boy. That to me, where it, like, kind of trebles a little bit. I don't know, there's something beautiful about that. But accents are great. They add flavor. You know what doesn't add flavor? MAXPAX's Warp Prism. Cure, let's be in position for that this time. I feel like if he didn't get so distracted by the previous Prism, he would have been a bit more well-established for the next wave. And it is MAXPAX. He's going to keep clicking Zealots in your base. So, we'll see how we go. 3-gate Blink Robo, very standard build for him. And, I mean, to be fair, Cure, he's not gone Cyclone. It's a very early tank. Are we about to pull 4 SCVs to the front, or just the natural? He's setting him to the natural for now. I kind of feel like he could... Oh, we not boosting the tank across? What's he doing? Oh, okay, it's just an exploratory drop. He's just going to go for a single mine drop for a bit of a scout. Siege tank needs to start. He needs 150 minerals. There we go. Second tank just got delayed by a couple seconds there, but notice he prioritized SCVs over tank production. I definitely think Q is going to push with the tanks, but we'll see how we go. Do you think the universal translators in Star Trek, the universal translators would have added the appropriate accent? I hope so. Because otherwise there should have been people in Star Trek constantly complaining about the cultural homogenization of non-culturally sensitive translator programming. They would have been like, you're literally squishing our culture by not representing our accents. Charge is on the way. But this third base is exposed. The tanks are coming. Where's the second one? Second tank's not far behind, but that Immortal is going to be clutch. If that Immortal can land a few shots on these tanks, that's everything. Oh, we get spotted. MAXPAX quickly blinks away. He's going to use the Prism for a bit of fancy micro here. Tanks have 7 range, Viking 6 range. He's got to be careful of the Immortal, though. Q has got to get in front of his siege tank. Do not siege. With that Immortal nearby, already the Viking goes down. Beautiful play there by MAXPAX. Forcing the first siege this far back is huge. Max needs potentially another pylon or two. He's buying time for charge. He's going to start another Immortal, but so hard to defend here. Look at the way Q is guarding those tanks. Brilliant play. The siege tank does go down. Stalker's going to fall. The Immortals as well. This Immortal's going to go down, but that Stalker does get the tank, and there's still 5 Stalkers behind. He's on a timer right now, is Cure. But the probes are exposed. Medevac takes damage. Cure pulls it back. Beautiful micro on the Medevac, but MAXPAX jumps across the Marines to do the damage. As a new tank arrives, that is going to cement this position because he's depowered the Robo and the battery. And I said it's been a while since I've seen anyone punish MAXPAX for taking one of these thirds. Cure apparently has the answer to that, and he says, Big, hold my beer. Takes him out with a very crisp expansion into tank push off of that gas first build. Really well played. All right, guys, let's go. Game 3. Cure going for the eBay block yet again. This time, MAXPAX scouts for it. It was a bit of an earlier eBay block this time, but does not catch MAXPAX unawares. He's like, okay, we can't be throwing any more games away like that. Let's flip that scoreboard to be representative. Was this gas first again, says chat? That's a good question. Yes, this was gas first again. Oh my gosh, I thought he was not going to cancel that. That had like 2 hit points left. He must have been actually watching the hit points and calculating. Thinking, okay, 3 probes could only do 15 damage a volley. Waits to the last second. Alright, command center on the high ground. Gateway, Cybercore, second gas. So you see with this build, guys, what's really cool about a gas first is you don't need your second depot. So what makes a gas first so efficient? Now, you don't have any Marines building, so you're very light on units. Your barracks is already a few seconds late, so your Reaper's a bit slower, doesn't hit as hard. And then you're going straight for a factory and a reactor, so you're very low on units, which is why a high ground command center is the more modern way of doing it. Early Legacy, we were always going gas first, low ground command center. just crossing our fingers as Zealot or a couple of Zerglings, if it was a Zerg player, wouldn't walk in and ruin our day. But cool build order, especially with the eBay block in this matchup, kind of disrupts the Protoss a little bit and just kind of messes up the builds for both sides. Do have a good 20-second advantage on the factory, by the way, so much faster. But this is a 3-gate, guys. We should see the 3rd gateway go down now at home. MAXPAX going to go for a very aggressive push with it. It could be Stalkers, could be Adepts. And he's building... I mean, a Widowmine's not a bad unit to help with this. The problem is this often catches you about 340 as your command center is just finished making an orbital. You're moving to the low ground. You're moving your Marines down. And you can get in big trouble. You really want a siege tank against this. And preferably a bunker on the natural as well. But with that, you're not going to have time to get a bunker up with this particular build order. And Q, he's got no idea what's going on. If he can get in now and see it, it'll give him a few seconds warning. He sees that the Chrono on the Warp Gate would have been huge, but he's not willing to sacrifice the Reaper. Which means the Chrono does not get spotted. You can see the Twilight's very delayed. MAXPAX has a mixture of economy and a lot of unit production with this, but he does delay his tech. Medevacs coming out, 2 Widowmines, and if this Widowmine drop moves out as the Stalkers run in, even worse. If you can quickly double it back, get 2 Widowmines sieged on the front of his base, that'll be good. But right now, Q is in big trouble, man. Marines going forward, Stalkers picking off a lot of Marines. Oh, God. Oh, that's so many! Oh, my lord, at least the Widowmines are staying at home. He's going to take out the Adept with one, wants to get a Stalker with the other. And look at that micro from MAXPAX. Picks off the Widowmine without letting the other one actually detonate. Reaper's going to go across the map, try and cause some havoc. And, oh my gosh, the Stalkers are up. I think he's got to raise that depot, doesn't he? Well, he's going to try and fight with SCVs and Marines using the high ground vision. Oh my gosh, I was like, you're crazy if you move out with these Marines right now. But he's waiting for the tank. The tank should be sieging further back. Careful, mate, careful. He's thinking about securing his natural. He should be thinking about surviving. It's a 3-gate, mate. This is a scary build. One SCV goes down, but only one so far. He's got a Reaper ready to block the 3rd base attempt. SCVs, Marines, and tank. He's like, I've got to get out of here. I've got to secure this base. The Adept's not able to get up the ramp. You can see the Shade does get cancelled. Widowmine gets focused down. And that siege tank does secure control of the natural for now. Reaper's going to come in. Q could catch the probe, but unfortunate timing on the move in means the probe sneaks right past. He didn't notice it. And that's kind of bad for Cure. Cloak Banshee coming in is going to be the Hail Mary play, but with the Robo coming up, MAXPAX dotting his I's, crossing his T's, and of course playing incredibly safe. Great grenade there, does help. I'm not sure if the Reaper would have died if he didn't get that off. And plenty of Stalkers. Even though Blink's not finishing until about 5.5 minutes, you can see MAXPAX has massive control over the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just squeezes a 4th gas in here. Then again, knowing MAXPAX, it's probably going to be a Forge next. 4th Gateway, Forge. And then I think we'll see, yeah, 1 Observer, probably a Sentry, and then an Immortal will be next up. He's going to use the Hallucination to blink in the main. Good call there. This tank does not fully cover. He can always shuffle south and try to deal with things. He's going to see the Banshee pop out. No, QE, you got to change the rally point. Oh, he does cloak it, actually. Good reaction. Stalkers going deep right now. You know what they say, guys, go hard or go home. These Stalkers are exceptionally rigid right now. Nice tank shot. Does get a 2nd Stalker there. Sorry, I don't think I've ever called them a rigid Stalkers before, guys, but sometimes dumb stuff comes out of my mouth and it tickles me. Double Reactor's going to go down in the factory in the starport. There is an engineering bay finally starting, along with the 3rd and 4th gas. He's going to try and move out with the tank Marine Banshee, but I mean, there's only Stalkers to slow him down. Charge is not quite there, but I think it's close enough. It'll be ready by the time he arrives. And the problem right now is Q is about to cross the point of no return. Where if he continues across this map, I don't think he's getting home. And I think he might have to just commit to the fight. Is there going to be enough Zealots and Stalkers to pick this off? If you can pick off 1 or 2 of the tanks early, that'd be big. Banshees add a lot of damage to this army. They're going to loop around behind right now, are the Banshees. You couldn't keep them with the tanks. Tanks have 7 range. Does scan, takes out the Observer. He's going to siege his tanks there. I think Cure realizes he can't really push any deeper. There we go. Banshee's in the back door. Going to get 4 probe kills so far. The Observer and the 3 Stalkers. MAXPAX special anti-Banshee defense. And now that one of those is down, the shield batteries can defend the other Banshee. So if he really wanted to, he could even just rejoin the front. Cure wisely loads up the tank and says, run, run, run. Unfortunately, he does not have stims. And there is charge and blink available. If MAXPAX commits to the chase, he'll get at least 1 tank, possibly more. And Cure, he's going to lose everything here. I mean, not everything, sorry. Some of the Marines might make it. He's got to lift the... Yeah, I think go back for the Marines. Siege the tanks on the high ground, and then... oh, actually, the Marines get behind the mineral line, which is nice. The tanks focusing the Stalkers is really well done. But I think MAXPAX wisely trades a few Zealots for those Marines. Then again, quite a few Zealots go down. But look at that. MAXPAX says, hey, if you're sieged on the high ground, you can't cover the natural. And he's just going to cover it that way. Gets in there, picks off a few SCVs. Very just commanding play for MAXPAX. You could tell he's got the mobility advantage and he knows it. And I think taking a 4th behind this is absolutely what you do. Okay, I can't kill you, but my splash damage is finishing. I've got a Forge on the way to actually add upgrades finally, which, like I said, always get a 3rd base, then go Forge. Observer tracking the Banshee so it can't cause trouble. And you can just see how MAXPAX is getting so well established. I actually think a 2nd Forge is not a bad idea for MAXPAX. Since he's got 4 High Templar and he's instantly energy recharged one, which I love to see. I felt like it took like a year of energy recharge being in the game before top Protoss players actually kind of got the muscle memory of warping a Sentry or a High Templar. And if you're at this stage, you've got an abundance of Chrono Boost. You have so much energy on these Nexus. Bloody instantly energy recharge. Just drop that energy into it, and then you can use it again 45 seconds later. It's such a good ability the more often you use it. But look at this. Great drop for Cure. Oh, he doesn't quite stim in the mineral line. There we go. Gets in just before the battery's done. Oh, really juicy. Already pays for itself. 10 probes is great, and he can go hide in the corner of the map, but can't defend the counter from MAXPAX. The Storm Drop isn't even needed. He's got enough Zealots, Stalkers, and Immortals that it's a nightmare for Cure right now. Drops the High Templar super far forwards, picks up, pulls them back. And Cure's going to have to tap out there. MAXPAX with a 2-1 lead. And that time felt like he just got all over it way too easily, too early. And the 3-gate just shutting down Cure's very greedy gas first build. Alright, guys, we got MAXPAX on the bottom right side of the map. Scouting around. Cure going for a bit of more standard barracks gas this time around. Julio says, with the 3-gate, he actually didn't have to respect the block. Was he hiding what he was doing with the respect to the block? The 3-gate might have been a reactive decision after realizing, oh, it's another gas first, eBay block game. Could have been something he was planning to do from the start. But I think he just... I wouldn't know. I think it's a rare enough thing because you only 3-gate proxy one in like 7 or 8 games, and yeah, I don't think you run into that eBay block as often with it. You're saying, oh, he could have just taken the 3rd base because he's doing a 3-gate, so it doesn't matter if he has an exposed 3rd because you're making a ton of units and being aggressive anyway. I would guess MAXPAX isn't thinking that deeply about it, Nate. I think you're thinking on a very smart level about this. I think MAXPAX is a very smart player. I'm not saying he's dumb. I just don't think he's thinking about it on that level. Even though, yes, technically, with a 3-gate, you don't need to care about that. I don't think that was really super factored into his decision-making. But if he wins, remind me, I'll ask him. I'll send him a DM. I'll go, yo, question. 3 barracks, guys. This is going to be the very fast 3 barracks where you can potentially... I think this is the one Beyond did recently where you can hit them with 4 Marauders and stim really early. It's like 4 Marauders and 8 Marines. Really scary push. So Dep's going to kill the SCV. Well done. And gets away. Super worth. Because now you know it's a Marauder opening. But you don't know about the 2nd and 3rd barracks. This is where we'll see a reactor go down. And I think with this version... You guys remind me, does he even build an add-on on the 3rd barracks Beyond? I feel like he doesn't. Oh, committing with this Adept is a wild choice. Does go down. Another Adept comes in. Oh, cheeky bugger. And, okay, he's going to do the... Oh, he's going to do the double reactor. Okay, he's going to commit... Yeah, commit to the double reactor. All right. Very nice. Going to be a lot of Marines coming out with this build. The SCV is going to try and help out, but 1 Marine's already fallen. On the other side, the Marauders are going to go in. MAXPAX not building a shield battery. I mean, there's been so long since anyone respected the Marauder opening. People really have started treating it like it's actual garbage and just not giving it any respect. The Marauder does take out the Stalker. 4 probes in mining time. I think that's super worth for Cure. And one has to say, man, Protoss players have been disrespecting this build so much to the point where I think Cure said, hey, I've analyzed the games. Protoss players are not only continuing to build Adepts, they're sacrificing the Adepts against these builds. They're not building a battery. They're not defending. Just commit. If you commit with the Marauders, in the current meta, the Protoss players are just so unafraid of the Marauders that actually it's effective again. So there's kind of that thing where people stop thinking of the Marauders as a serious threat. They think of them just as a little map control / defensive unit. I like to see the Terran take advantage of that. Always good when a player kind of studies the meta and goes, wait a second. Where both sides are assuming this little push has no teeth anymore. And that's a lot of mining time and probe kills. Who brought the Marauders back into the meta? The Marauder opening, Biana's been trying to do consistently, and I've been crapping on it for like the last year and a half or more. Couple of years. Stim's going to come out, but the Stalkers intercept it. If he got around the Stalkers, that would have been great. He's only going to get one of these. Oh, two. Wait. If he gets a third, you got to stim. It's super worth stimming. The Marauder, mate. The Marauder. Oh, he should have just stimmed all of them, I reckon. I guess he doesn't want to take that many hit points, but yeah, good map control now. So now that you've got the high ground, MAXPAX is forced to be defensive. He's going to 4 gates. Going to take a 5th gate and cure. Starport begins at 520. 4th gas goes down. +1's on the way. Shields is almost finished. He's going to hide these units on the side of the map, this is always the key with the 3 Rax build. Because if so the way it works, right? Protoss will get vision of your base. They'll get a few Stalkers, and they'll really harass you anytime you leave your base. But if you can hit them from the side of the map, say the Stalkers all arrive here, you see them, you stim into the 3rd with this bio, you kill 20 probes, kill a bunch of pylons. Even if he eventually cleans you up, the start of the trade is going to be so bad for him. He can't hear that, can he? I think if you're just outside of vision, you might hear the gunfire on that. And look at this, he's hunting. MAXPAX is well aware of the threat. He just doesn't know where it's coming from. You can see the push is going down the right side. That should force MAXPAX's army to the right, which means these guys can loop in and stim into this left side base. 58 workers, 5 gates is up. Charge is almost there. But honestly, he doesn't have any zealots yet, right? He's going to have a few zealots into a pack of stim bio with +1. Dude, cool with a genius opening here. He's going to stim in the 3rd. Brilliant. And at the same time, stims in from both sides. It is a stim bio pincer. He's on the natural and the 3rd at the same time. He's targeted the 3rd nexus. Over in the natural, you can see he's stutter stepping away from the zealots, getting them out of the guardian shield as much as he can. The nexus does go down. I kind of want him to kill a bunch more probes here, though, just to make sure he's getting the real value. And there we go. He does indeed get that value. He's going to stim into the main base now. A few more Marines and Marauders are on the front. They could stim in and try to catch some of these long-distance mining probes. You can really see. I'm trying not to just stare at one thing, guys. I know it's maybe a bit of a jagged viewing experience, but I think the multi-prong was everything there. It was guys would dive on one side, MAXPAX would react, guys would dive on the other side. 15 probes, D-powers here as well, delaying the storm. And now he's got a drop, which he could actually continue into the main with that drop if he wants to. He's on the low ground right now, and is going to push back these units, but the Marine does go down. The Urubu panics, has a bit of a flap around there. I don't like the boost in here. I think this is a bad move. I think if he drops on the low ground to clear the buildings, it's fine. But going to the high ground here is, I think this is a massive overcommit for Cure. This is a huge mistake for Cure, I believe. Let's see if he can make it worth it. If he gets these units out of there, or if he kills enough probes. I mean, he's killing a lot of probes. And you know what? He's going to save one of the medevacs. Impressive play. He's still continuing, and a Widow Mine is going into the natural where it's going to burrow. It is unfortunately close to the gas. It does get focused down, actually. 3rd base is not being rebuilt. Cure, you know what? I thought it was an overcommit. Turns out it was perfect. Storm may be ready, but MAXPAX's economy is in the dumps. Right now, though, Cure needs to calm down and not die to Storm, because there will be a scary Storm counterattack. There's already a massive zealots going across the map. Cure needs to actually pull back, reset, add ghosts like he's already doing, and play the macro game. He's already got some bio here. He can pull back to that choke point in between the barracks. Nicely done. Really nicely done, in fact. Does leave that zealot to get taken out by the Widow Mine. Dude, Cure's all over it. He found that opening, and this is the joy of the early concussive Marauders into the early stim, is you can bully the Protoss off the map, and essentially that is the whole point of this build. It is, if I remove your Stalker map control and I hide units around edges of the map and I come in from surprising angles, suddenly you can't utilize that perfect blink micro that normally is so effective. Oh my gosh, Cure! He doesn't stim his Marines, does land an EMP there, but there's still one Storm available. He's got to pull back. Cure, I know you hate pre-spreading, but you might want to do it here. One goes down. He walks back into the side storm a little bit. The SCVs are starting to fall. Last storm goes down. No, wait, there's another storm. Dude, if MAXPAX, if he wins this game right now, oh my lord, the Archon needs to get clicked. The SCV's going down. I can't believe this. The power of Psy Storm compels you. The power of Psy Storm compels you Cua's head does a 360 and he starts vomiting bile all over the bed. MAXPAX, the Catholic priest right now, is in shock and horror as he holds his Storm cross in front of his face. And he says, the power of Storm compels you. He's down 40 supply though. I think in this situation, it may indeed be the demon in the little girl's body that wins this battle. If you've never seen The Exorcist, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. I think he was barely going to hold on. He lost a lot of workers, but this was an all-in. MAXPAX has no third behind it. He's only on 35 probes, and that is going to be a very good attempt by MAXPAX to bring it back. But Cua manages to hold on and stay firm. Well played, Cua. All right, guys, game 5 to decide it all. Cua, on the bottom right side of the map, going for a rare double gas build. MAXPAX with an early probe. He scouted for a kind of close barracks on this side, and now comes in for the harassment. He's also said, hey, it's Tydo Citadel. It's a big map. I'm going to go Nexus before Cybercore. Greedy build, right? Probe scout into Nexus. But he's also not gone for the wall off, which is interesting because, like, Hero has been doing a lot of Nexus before Core. You know that build order. Bunch of the Protoss players, as well as myself, and Harstam, have been saying, dude, you just get so much more gas earlier. It's so much better. Obviously, the Nexus before Core is so much better defensively, but you do give up the ability to punish a Terran build that's a bit greedier, right? We've seen early adepts do massive damage in this series. MAXPAX is giving up the opportunity to do that by going for the greedier build, but he gets a faster second gas. He'll be able to get earlier tech. There's advantages and disadvantages, of course, to every decision in StarCraft. Is there any chance we'd have a Stargate here, Pig? Oh, I actually think Winter Madness is the map where you should be opening Stargate. A bit more higher frequency PvT because of the Liberator spot, and just because it's, it's not a bad build, but I wouldn't count on it, especially now we've seen a Sentry. In general, MAXPAX, he does mix up things more these days than he used to. But, yeah, I mean, he sees double gas opening, like by seeing the factory, and he just kind of says, you know what? Play really safe. I'm going to go classic style. Get a Sentry for Hallucinate, double shield battery. Now, I've seen players do this and still take damage to like 6 Marines and a Widowmine getting in and causing a fair bit of damage because their units like aren't in position. Classic usually takes no damage to this, but you do have to have a bit of finesse. It's not an insta automatic hold. We'll see how we go. I mean, Cua, he's basically like just one Reaper into a fast Widowmine drop by the looks of it. Yeah. Pretty chilled out opening. It's like, it's a double gas build, but essentially it's very standard what he's doing afterwards. And Widowmines don't care about shield batteries, guys. You can't heal a unit that's in pieces on the ground already if it gets one shot. Elven Rush? What's the Elven Rush, chat? I see you guys saying Elven Rush. Thank you, Jane. Oh, we just got a YouTube member. Don't get those too often. Thanks, Jane. Hey, appreciate you, mate. Welcome to the Pigsty. Robo starts up there. Extra gateway goes down, so it's 3-gate Robo. Third gas is about to build. 3, 2, 1. Third gas. What can I say, guys? My predictions aren't always on point because sometimes players misplay. That third gas is late. He's oversaturated here. And now he's going to go 4 gas. Oh, okay. All right, all right. Remember, guys, if something I say doesn't happen in the game, it's because the player's playing the game wrong. Your hubris has become too powerful, Pig. Oh, I think you just hide in the corner as Cua. Oh, no, he's still going to go for it. Okay, one of those will go down before it can burrow. The other one, not so much. Oh, good retarget. Just take out the Stalker. Gets the probe with the splash damage anyway. Well done. But I think as Max, you don't care. You're happy to trade a Stalker because you've minimized mining time loss, and now you can drop that Templar Archives. He could go Robo Bay, but... What? I was going to say, Robo Bay here is really odd, because... Normally you drop the third, and then the Robo Bay if you're going to do this style. But this is such a fast Colossus play. Off of Blink, Observer's very safe. MAXPAX, he's predicting an SCV pull in Game 5. Or some sort of all-in. And he wants to just get Colossus up really early to deal with the SCV pull. That's okay, so this is my read on MAXPAX mindset. He says it's Game 5. Q is going to do an SCV pull on the big map. He's going to do an all-in. This is still a decent economy build. It's not a very fast economy build, but I'm going to go faster charge, faster Colossus Bay. I'm going to make sure I can't die, because I think I'm the better player the longer the game goes. I think I'm the favorite here. Let's not screw around. Now, he has not seen the Cloaked Banshee and there's no way to scout it now. Oh, he has seen it, didn't he? Sorry, he had a hallucination. Of course he saw it. So double Banshee famously is a really good build for the last, what, 6 months because of Maru popularizing it. And because every Terran does it like every second game in PvT, it's become really bad against MAXPAX because he always just leaves a few Stalkers and an Observer in his base. But in this game where he's actually scouted it coming, if those Banshees came into his main, he would lose a lot of probes. He doesn't have Observers there. He's only got one on the third and one in the enemy main. Those Banshees are going to slide by. Doesn't go in Observer vision. Doesn't reveal himself. Dude, he's going to find a bunch of damage here. MAXPAX. Literally, his defense against this is better when he doesn't see Cloak on the upgrade. I kid you not. I've seen him defend this, shut it down with no scouting of it. And this time he's going to lose 10 probes. 11? 12 probes. Banshee's going to try and escape. It should go down. I don't think there's any way you can escape because Stalkers can split here and blink one more time to finish. But 12 probes, I think that's totally fine. That's super worth. Your third command center is halfway done. And the question is, does Kua realize what the tech is like? I mean, he's seen 4 gases with that scouting. He should have a pretty good idea. There's a big economy play, right? This is MAXPAX getting up to that stage. Because I think the best play here for Kua is if he realizes how high-tech MAXPAX is, he needs to go for a relatively early starport on this. But he's building a tech lab. Do you guys think he's going to build siege tanks and play like turtle to late game? Because this is something that's gaining popularity. Terrans have realized like they are favored in late game against Protoss. Getting there is really hard. Siege tanks are the best I will not die get unit in the game. But you want to keep them on the high ground. You don't want to just shove these out front where they can get sniped by Stalkers and Zealots. Ooh, double drop comes out, but the Zealot might spot these guys coming up this ramp. Observer sees him moving out. Those tanks are a bit exposed. The bio comes from that side. Kua not catching those Stalkers. I think he thought they would move north and he'd pincer them, but Zealot's still there, as is the Observer. Finally, the Observer goes down. Now, MAXPAX, right now, sorry, Kua's moved out to take a third, guys. Where is the Prism defense? Now, we know in this game there is no Warp Prism, but that's very uncharacteristic for MAXPAX. And I got to say, not having any Vikings covering this right side or 8 Marines in the main with a medevac, Seiki made on Old Republic. You got to be careful with that play. Factories on the tech lab. He did build a new siege tank. So yeah, he's going to play siege tank style. There's no aggressive timing when you're playing tank production. It's pure defense. And this does give MAXPAX a free path to a 4th base. But right now, worker count's pretty even. Gases get taken immediately. Vikings are finally going to go cover that Warp Prism. You've got to cover against the different angles. Now, he's got 2 tanks here, but very little bio on this side, which means if Zealots charged in, they could easily get on those siege tanks. And I really want to see Kua leave half of his army up about here and half of his army about here. Because what you really need as a Terran, so just to explain how defense works, is you want, when the army comes in, let's say there's a big army from here, you want your bio army to be here, so the Zealots start charging, and the charge finishes on your Marauders here, and then you stutter step all the way back to your siege tank. So the charge doesn't actually get them on top of your real position. That's what's key. And it gives you room to pull back against Storms, Colossus, all these sorts of things. Whereas if you're back here and he storms you, where are you going to run? If you run south, your command center is exposed. You're giving him control of your mineral line. So you need to have your bio in front of your position. And that's absolutely crucial. And this is something which I really feel he needs to make sure he corrects from the Old Republic game. 4th command center comes down, 2nd starport, and he's going to swap his factory off. He's not going to keep building tanks. Just 5 tanks. He just builds a few more tanks. Not full commitment, not TY style. Maru's been doing it a bit as well, the non-stop tanks. And he's going to go for the 3 more barracks. So he's going to go for like ghosts and all that sort of stuff. Now, MAXPAX has got Storm, +2 attack, +1 armor. I spoke to MAXPAX a bit about the Tempest style. He said, I know that's technically meant to be good, but it's incredibly hard to pull off. I've seen him try it once, and he didn't really commit to it correctly. He kind of just built random cannons, but his army kept roaming, and he didn't support the cannons, so they just got cleared out very easily. I think he's unwilling to play that style. He's building a 4th Colossus now. He's on a High Templar Storm. I mean, this is kind of the classic Storm push. It's a very good push if you can get on top of the tanks and clear them, but I think with 5 tanks, I don't think there's a way in, except when Kua moves out to take his 4th. That's the window where MAXPAX might catch Kua, not organized enough, because Kua doesn't know the army's out there, has very little information, he's in the dark. But Kua can play this very slow and very carefully. He's going to unsiege a tank. Going to start moving forwards. Q is so blind right now. Okay, he sees some units. He should know these rocks are getting taken down now. MAXPAX taking the gold, taking the north. Second Robo's coming in. 2-1 upgrades are almost there. MAXPAX is going to look for a way in. You do not want to let this go to endgame, even though Q has no Clem in terms of army control and multitasking. You don't want to give him that freedom. This is why you need some units up here to guard against these siege tanks. A lot of tanks getting caught on siege. You can see, like, a siege tank's going to go down to a single zealot there. This is very sloppy for Cure. And I can kind of see he's trying to play very safe, but he's got to leave himself... Oh my god, he didn't have extra turrets! Speed Prism gets in the south. He's got Zealots in his main in his natural right now. MAXPAX with a beautiful vision here. Zealots coming from the north again. The tanks are exposed. Storms on top of the Bio Viking as well. Look at this engagement. He's giving him the twister. MAXPAX gets in there. He even picks up some Zealots from the main, redrops them in the natural. Beautiful play here, just causing havoc in the back. Gets 13 SCVs, denies the fourth base being taken. And how many tanks has he killed now? It says 1. Now, you might be wondering, didn't he lose more tanks? He did. He lost at least 3, I believe 3 siege tanks, but 2 of them were friendly fire from the siege tanks shooting the zealots that were next to them. So that's why they don't show up in that unit's loss tab. Now, Q has still got a big scary army, but securing this fourth, as I said, it's difficult. He should be walking his tanks forward. He's also still in a very marine-heavy army. 37 marines, so vulnerable to Colossus and storms. But chasing into the tanks and Vikings is difficult. Problem is, Q's whole army is once again on one control group. And if Zealots came in from the north, that could cause issues. MAXPAX shoves, though. Archon's eating big storm, EMPs, and the tanks and Vikings blast the Colossus. But that's another siege tank down. And Q, he's lost his artillery. He's only got 1 tank. His Vikings are also very low, which means a Colossus rebuild is actually a good choice. Max has 88 workers and yet unlimited money in this game. He's mining 4,000 minerals a minute. And every second that Q is not mining off of this fourth is a disaster. Not to mention, this trading is way too cost efficient for Protoss. Protoss does not need to be cost efficient here. He just needs to not be terribly cost inefficient. And he even storms down all the air units. All the Vikings just went bye-bye. Terran is actually trading negatively. And look at this. 2 more speed prisms in the back. His gas burnt down. I just don't think Q is multitasking. And his practice in this sort of game, this is clearly not Q's game style in PvT. Whereas MAXPAX, he's had much harder nuts to crack in the form of Clem recently, so he's had a lot of practice with this style. I do think the Stalkers should have focused that command center. It's such a high-value target, but it's going to get saved there by the repairing SCVs. But Q is basically dead, even though MAXPAX, you could say, oh, well, but look, is he really? I mean, MAXPAX's army is lower than his. Well, MAXPAX does 1 warp in, he's back to even army. Does another warp in, he's good. And these bases are just out of resources, you know? He's going to start running dry. 1,500 minerals a minute. MAXPAX is going to start mining next to him. It's already mining out the golds, taking more gases. 3-2's almost finished. 2-2 is now done for Cure, but no artillery, no siege tanks left alive. And the Zealot Archon Colossus is going to come forwards. MAXPAX, he got in some trouble in some moments in this series. Cure played some really good openings. You know, that push on Winter Madness with the eBay block. But MAXPAX now can just storm over the top of him. The bio, the ghost washing out. And even though MAXPAX, of course, isn't killing everything, he's trading well enough. You're trading evenly when you're up 30 workers and 5 bases on your opponent. It's very poor for Q. I have to ask the question, why was Q securing the fourth the way he did, guys? GG, well played. MAXPAX secures the victory, a well-earned victory, a good series for Q. But Q looked awkward and unpracticed, is I think the fairest way to say it, in terms of how he was securing that fourth. And what I mean by that, let's break it down really quickly, is he never walled off this northern side. If you're going to play a turtle style, I don't know why barracks 6, 7, and 8. Like, why not build a barracks here and a barracks here, and then you can just have like a single depot opening or something, so Zealots can't just charge in and get on top of your tanks, right? He lost 2 tanks to a handful of Zealots earlier. That was bad, number one. Or leave a pack of bio up there, right? Even if it's just 10 Marines and a medevac or something like that. So that's one thing. The other thing is, these tanks can start moving forward and getting on these ledges, potentially as well. Now, that's a bit dangerous, because if you've only got 2 tanks on the ledges, he could blink forward and snipe them. You might want to be a little bit further back. But I really thought by this point, it's almost 11 minutes, and you haven't even, like, shouldn't he have moved out to this left side? I felt like the bio should have been here. He should have started inching his tanks forward. Never should have let these rocks go down so easily. Could have moved a tank up to, like, here and defended it. And imagine if those rocks are still up. I mean, I tried to break Terran in TVZ, PVT, TVT even, and if they have a few tanks along this ridge line and you're like attacking from the left, it's really hard to defend, because the bio can start here and stutter step all the way up along this line where they've got a few siege tanks up there. So I almost wish he kept building siege tanks, moved his siege tank positioning forwards a bit here, and really worked to establish this fourth. But it felt like a very awkward setup for him, where he just wasn't quite set up the way he needed to be. And I just don't think he's got as much practice with the turtle siege tank style, because there's a reason we don't like tanks against Protoss. They're very defensive, very turtley. It doesn't give you any aggressive threat. You really just have to turtle to late game if you're playing them. But he loses a tank there, and then look at this next Zealot run by. I mean, losing 3 tanks to a handful of Zealots and the Prism getting in at the same time. From here, I would say it's almost all over already, because, you know, there's already 6 bases for Protoss. He's got the full map, and he's delaying the 4th is already bad for Terran. Delaying the 4th, losing a bunch of tanks and a ton of SCVs is a disaster. And I felt like Q was multitasking and his positioning was just a little bit off. You could tell he's more comfortable when he's in charge, controlling the map, pushing, doing biomine, multi-prong, widowmine drops and things. But I think his turtling play, if he wants to engage in this style, is going to take a fair bit of practice. That being said, hats off to MAXPAX. This was a really good classic timing with Colossus Storm, but he mixed in the Prisms and the Zealots to take advantage of Q's positioning absolutely perfectly. GG, well played to MAXPAX, guys. Wins the Monday Night Weekly, and another tournament win in the bag. GG, well played. Alright guys, I thought the whole series was over. I totally forgot. This just activates the final best of 3. MAXPAX in the top right side, coming from that losers bracket, has now evened the scales. And the rule is they can't play the same maps. So there was actually, they've already played 5 maps, right? And out of 9, which means there's only 4 maps left. So I guess someone vetoed 1 map, and now we've just got to play the other 3 in whichever order they've picked them. Kira in the bottom left side of the map, Barracks gas build, pretty standard stuff. This map's interesting. I've heard this map's really good for Protoss because the Stalkers can just blink in the back, and it's really hard to cover that. They can also blink across here and have all this room to like micro around, but they could also run down here and potentially blink up this back door. So I would say it's playable for Terran. I think Terran's, oh man, there's so many places they can come. I would argue though, from the Protoss side of things, it's so far to rotate between any of these different angles that it's not like Protoss can just magically rotate from one to the other. Like, because I was talking to Terran the other day and I was thinking about it, I was like, when I've played this as Protoss, I really don't think the Stalkers can get in there that easily. I don't know. I also feel like the backdoor is good for Terran to drop in. I don't know. I haven't seen enough PvT on this map, but apparently it does get vetoed a fair bit, so we'll see what happens. I was like, oh guys, good to cast a finals. That was fun. And everyone was going, Pig, it's not over. Best of 3. And I was like, oh man. We managed to take a quick wee, do a bathroom break, play some ads so that they won't play during the series, which is good. Tech Lab. Okay, this is the Maru's Cyclone first opening. Honestly, this looked pretty dodge against Hero the other day. Well, did it? No. It looked really good sometimes, actually, especially against Stargate builds. But do you really expect Stargate from MAXPAX? I'd say MAXPAX has started varying his play up a lot more than he used to. He's less predictable, and that means he goes Stargate 1 in every 17 games. Still not a particularly impressive percentage, but at least it's sometimes. I would always veto this map because it encourages cannon rushing. I think as a Terran, you're not too annoyed. Oh, because is there a good cannon spot here or something? I think as a Terran pro, you're not really worried about cannons, just because Marines and SCVs do pretty okay against it. But I haven't really studied the different cannon spots on the different maps. This SCV's hiding. Does she find him? Oh, SCV, where are you? I want to kill you. The SCV's like, oh god, run! Run! Runs past the doodle forest there. It does get to the safety of the Cyclone. This Adept will take a bit of damage as well. Both Adepts retreating home. The Stalker's there as well. Yeah, I know some people. I have one buddy, he's like very religious. He doesn't play this because he says apparently it's like against the word of the Bible to hang around with so many doodles. He said it's very bad. I was like, fair enough, man. Fair enough. To each his own. I gotta say, this does look like some weird demon spawn stuff, right? I don't know, like this is at the very least unhygienic. These little doodles that grow out of the volcano ground. I don't know what people were thinking when they put this in the map editor. I don't know what they're supposed to even be, man. Are these like failed spine crawlers, by the way? Are these like the spine crawlers that grew wrong? So they don't have a pointy tip? Are they like baby spine crawlers or something? I don't know, man. You guys tell me. 4-gate blink. Okay, 4-gate blink for MAXPAX. I expect both sides to ignore the inside base. Maybe Terran will take it a bit earlier than Protoss, but Protoss wants these full 8 minerals double gases. They're clearly gummy peanut. Oh my. Sea cucumbers. Yeah, sea cucumbers, sure. They're space cucumbers, you mean. You just replace like sea with space and that explains everything. Okay, problem. No bunker, no tanks. Oh god. Oh god, Q is not expecting 4-gate blink. He's playing very greedy, guys. Oh no. I mean, he's going to have stim shields +1 really early, but very few marauders is the problem. He needs more marauders. And there we go, 2 marauders, medevac starting. But look at this, MAXPAX already warping in 4 stalkers across the gap. Pull the boys, pull the boys, pull the boys! He needs SCVs to buffer here. I like the way he pulls to the right side to limit the damage there. Lets these SCVs tank a little bit. But that's going to allow these stalkers to push back in on the right side. Oh, nice little stalker flanky there. Cyclone takes a few hits. Lock on from the Cyclones, some of the best range damage you have here as a Terran player. Problem now, of course, is how do you deal with this drop going across the left side? He's got stim and shields finished now. Medevac number 1 does arrive. The firepower of the Terran army is impressive, but I just don't know if he's got the firepower to deal with this, you know, stalkers hitting from both sides. And third Nexus has now come in. Double pylons are being produced. Okay, so he's going to leave a pack of Marauders and Marines in the main with that medevac, which is more than enough to defend. He's got to rally to the front, surely, with everything else. He's got way too many units in the back of the base, not enough in the front. Stalkers come in, they won't find any damage. Medevacs can heal through that. That Observer is really helping him, though. I think you just got to leave this squad of units here in the back, whatever it is, and then these guys should be able to handle the front just fine. Concussive is done. Ooh, Concussive is really good because you could start actually like punishing him for being out of the map, right? Oh, Cyclone. Not able to lock on the Prism there. That's okay. All right, did he get +1, guys? Yes, he did. So Kua might be able to just move across the map now with everything. And then start a third on location behind it. What have we got to defend this? Charge coming in. He's got 1 sentry with a Guardian Shield, a couple Zealots. Scary army right now, but that is a lot of Stalkers. With good Blink Micro, you can kind of wear this down. And remember, every stim does damage your own units a fair bit. He's going to try and... Uh-oh. Oh, God. Q F2's home. Oh, Q, you gotta stay disciplined on this. He should have pulled back with those units a bit earlier to this high ground. And now this drop's blatantly obvious, which means he should maybe kill a pylon or 2 and just get out of here. Don't stay here too long. No. Q pressing here is very dangerous. Uh-oh. Okay, does pick up. Save the units. Good call, good call. Could have left slightly earlier and saved 2 Marauders, though. Prism's going to go hit the back door. Charge is done. Cyclone is in position to a certain extent, but look at that. So hard to cover everything because you got this area here as well. Oh, that's nasty. Look at that. Zealot's going to waltz in onto the rally. And Marines, Marauders, Cyclone's going to try and defend. The Widowmine not firing, unfortunately. Q's whole army is returning home. But not before a decent amount of damage has gone down. Widowmine finally gets a hit on those Zealots. The Zealots. 3 SCVs go down. Mining time. Most importantly, though, it's the time MAXPAX buys for himself. +1. Almost ready. The first Colossus about to pop out. MAXPAX a bit gas-starved. He needs to put workers on that 4th gas. But look at that. He even gets a depot on the left side. And his army's on the front. Meanwhile, he's got a 4th base building. I think this is excellent play for MAXPAX. Getting good value out of the Guardian Shield. Picks off a bunch of units and he says, look, I baited a stim. Now I run away. Maybe I can bait another stim. And then Q is going to end up doing so much damage to himself. The Colossus arrives. The Zealots charging in. More units coming from the left. There's a Warp Prism over there as well. Vikings. If the Vikings get rid of the Prism, that would be good. He does take out the Prism just before the Zealot Warp in. That might turn this fight in Q's favor. But he's dangerously low on supply, and those 2 Immortals put paid. They put to rest that idea. You're like, oh, maybe Q can clear the army now, but he's just not got enough units on the ground. The Zealot Immortal now beats his lowered Marine Marauder count. And you can see the way that 4-gate blink got momentum for MAXPAX, and he kind of ran Q around in circles was really good. I think Q's build was very smart with the let's go stim shields pretty quickly, but just a bit too slow to split his units up, I think, to kind of deal with what was happening. And Who knows, maybe if he snuck a drop around earlier or got rid of the Observer a bit faster, it would have been better for him. He did kill the Observer finally. Now MAXPAX is in his face. So many units there, and those 2 Immortals, man. Every time they land hits on the Marauders, they just disappear. Widowmine finally fires on a Stalker. There's so many Zealots. They're even in the mineral line as we speak. Colossus clears the Marines. Immortals clear the Marauders. And Cure will have to tap out. MAXPAX on a roll in this series. Oh, right, guys. Sidestorm Gaming's MAXPAX in the bottom left side of the map. Liquid Cure in the top right. Pro's going to rotate around and have some fun. I think for Cure, that last game is a very awkward map. This map he's going to feel a bit more comfortable on. I kind of wish he went for like a crazy cheese, but I mean, you know MAXPAX always scouts, plays so safe, right? So understandable that he didn't. Just didn't quite get into that defensive position early enough. Maybe if he squeezed a bunker in, it's just if you go a bunker, you're delaying your stim and shields, and it's all about having stim shields and actual Marauder Marine count out so you can stim around your base and shut down the Stalkers on the fly. And did an okay job of it, but then MAXPAX just saw way too much with the Observer, I think, and that was the real thing which gave him all the info he needed to make the right plays at the right time. Cybercore into Nexus, very typical opening for Max after this Gate Scout. It is a double gas build yet again. You guys think MAXPAX plays Storm this game? He's been good at mixing it up between Colossus and Storm. I still think Colossus is his favorite to open with, but I don't know. I think for him, he's maybe just randomizing it a little bit, mixing it up. Sometimes do number 1, sometimes do option number 2. Shield battery on the natural. Looks like he's probably going to skip going for the second battery in the main. I think going double battery is a bit awkward. Just going to chase after the Reaper. Second Reaper did come out, so it's 2 Reaper into Cyclone. Cyclone, of course, very good for getting map control, but you need 100 gas and 150 minerals, so it's delayed a few seconds. But with the command center on the high ground, you don't really care. Of course, it does delay the reactor, because you put the money into the Cyclone. Now you got to wait for another 50 minerals, and then the reactor does go down. Always tight for cash is Terran in the early game. Depth pushes back the double Reaper jump. Second gateway on the natural. Blink has been delayed for that second gateway timing. MAXPAX. MAXPAX. Okay, 316 blink starts. Most players prioritize blink over second gate. I think second gate obviously is the bigger priority just for defending like tank call-ins and stuff, but 10-15 seconds of blink timing does matter. Look at this full wall off. So if Stalkers blink in, he's going to have probably another building and another add-on there with like a tank behind it for safety. I think it's a bit far back, the wall, though, so it's going to be hard to have a tank close enough to cover the ledge. If your tank's all the way back here, he can blink in, wait for blink to cool down, and then run forward and blink across your buildings to kill your tank. I mean, it's going deep. It's a bit of a crazy move, but it is an option. One you've got to be aware of. Where'd the music go? Fix that for the live audience. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that, Dragon. Third gas comes in as well. 3-gate blink. No big surprises here. This is the standard build order for MAXPAX. Third gas very early, which tells us you want to keep building tanks and banshees for a little bit and still have the gas for the follow-up transition. We saw a tank banshee build. Who was it, guys? I cast one just the other day, and was it Clem? Someone was committing a bit too hard to their push. It was Maru. Yeah, Maru committed so hard to a tank banshee push. Was it? And then he didn't have any follow-up behind it. I can't remember if it was Maru or someone else. I don't know. I've cast too many games recently. It's all blending into one. There was a game where they forgot to take the third gas, and they were going for a tank banshee push, and their follow-up just sucked because they couldn't afford everything. Because you need like stim, shields, +1, medevacs, so much stuff, and it's just really hard when you spend so much gas on the tank banshee to do that. Now, you can still push out despite building a bunker, but this is a pretty aggressive... Oh, it was 4 gates? I'm blind, guys. It was 4-gate blink again. 4-gate blink again. Watch out, watch out. That tank's somewhat exposed. It does cover the worst areas, though. He's going to blink in. Tank already gets a shot off. Depot needs to cancel. Good cancel. Only losing 1 SCV so far. A couple of good shots there. And MAXPAX has to pull away. Good damage across those Stalkers. There's a few on red and orange in the prism. Very good damage. That's really important because now you've got your 2 Banshees that have gone in. Where are those 3 Stalkers and the Observer that he famously keeps at home every game but has forgotten this time? Well, he has an Observer coming out right on time. Scan went down on his side of the map. I don't think... And he killed an Observer on his side of the map as well so that it couldn't be recalled. Very clever for Cure. Banshees are going to get 7 probes and get away from the Observer. Nicely done. That's really good. The fact that you keep these alive. They're a good combat unit. They're a good harassment unit. And with both alive, you can't just build a shield battery in each base. You always have to be wary of where they could come from. But I think he should probably go hide them somewhere. Like here, it's dangerous, man. They could easily get caught by Stalkers on the map. Oh, good harassment here for MAXPAX. Q is actually committing to the frontal push right now. No SCV pull with it, though. Tank sieges in the main. Will that push him away? Looks like it eventually will, but MAXPAX is like, hey, I'm denying mining and picking off a depot. I'll stay here for the moment. Tank's going to siege a little bit closer. Losing 1 depot is not the end of the world, as he is building a few more that are finishing as that one dies. He's going to try and resaturate. Banshees do cloak. 3 Banshees and 2 tanks is a fearsome army. Can he get that Observer? The Observer's locked on! The Observer's locked on! It goes down! The Observer got taken out, which means there's no answer to the Banshees right now. He's trying to chrono another one. The Stalkers do blink forward and take care of the siege tanks. That might be enough. The Banshees are going to fight the Stalkers. He could dodge projectiles with the Prism Micro, though. Oh, the Prism is dodging the projectiles. Isn't enough? The Banshees are causing such havoc. One of the Banshees out of energy. There's an Observer here anyway, but the Stalkers have all gone down, and he's got to pull the probes. This is a very tight situation with Stim on the way behind it. Cure maybe about to tie up this series. He's got a new tank sieged up on the front. The Immortal's trying to build. The Gateway's going to go down. The Gateway's going to go down fast enough. He should be able to... No, that won't depower the Robo. It'll only depower the shield battery, which is already light on the resources there. Liberator's going to come in a bit too late, and that Lib Siege, I think, is a bit too late. The Marines will clear the Zealots. Hold on, never mind. He gets all the Stalkers. It might actually be very useful. That Lib just killed 4 Protoss units. And that is super valuable. Protoss units are not cheap. Storm's on the way, and he has a 3rd base up. MAXPAX might be okay, guys. Remember, Protoss has incredible flexibility. It all depends how long he's got until Cure's next push can arrive. I like that the Lib survived. There's no Medivacs. This is the problem. So the problem for Cure right now is he's got Bio Tank. He's got Stim. Shields and +1, 80 seconds and about 2 minutes away. So about 1.5 and 2 minutes away, respectively. 3rd Command has just started, and there's no double reacted Medivacs yet. So I actually think for Cure, it might be advisable, I sound like an idiot saying this, to go push without Medivacs. Because then he can siege a Lib in from both sides. One from the left, one from the bottom into the main. And he's going to be attacking into, like, basically 4 Zealots and a few Storms and nothing else. I think if Cure could just move halfway across the map and go home, that might actually be optimal here. He's not in a bad position for the long game, but remember, MAXPAX is chronoing probes. His 3rd's fully saturated. The Lib goes in on its own and goes down. Not the best move. If MAXPAX feels confident to secure a 4th base here, which he's... Okay, that's a Zealot, not a probe. I was like, that's crazy going for 4th base before Forge, but because this game's been slowed down so much, I mean, the trading was 1,000 resources in favor of Cure, but Cure's looking for the Observer right now. That's what he wants. He's like, I'm sick of you map hacking me, bro.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Zealot drop comes in, though. Cure's Prism defense has not been on par with Clem's in this series. It's a really good push he did, man. The Banshees, 3 Banshees did so much damage. Forge into 4th Nexus. As I said, not getting a Forge before the 4th Nexus is basically putting yourself in the dark area of having terrible upgrades for the rest of this game. Cure should load up a double drop sneak around the left to try and hit this natural. Templar Archives would be the main target of that, as well as the probes, both very high value targets. But if he can sneak out like that, that'd be excellent. Problem is, if he leaves himself a bit undefended at home, Storms could be a big issue. I think the big target is the tanks. You've seen Cure hasn't been very good at keeping his bio in front of his tanks. He's got to get well out in front to defend those tanks while he can pull back from the Storms. There we go. No pre-split. Zealots in the bottom right are there. Walks back through the Storms. Tank fire is helping him out. The Immortal does take a fair bit of damage. 4 Observers have gone down in this game. He just scanned again for the Observer. He's like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of these Observers, man. But MAXPAX isn't even building them. I actually think he should be building them. So I think they're really annoying Cure very much. Toss his Ember for sure. He will win. I think that's what decides most StarCraft games. Chat, I agree. I believe it's purely the faction they play. That's my games, man. When I lose, it's only because of the faction I pick. Storms. Good zoning storm. These High Templar are kind of cornering themselves. I think these SCVs need to get out of here. I think these SCVs need to get out of here, man. Ghost coming forward. Lands a good EMP on the army and one High Templar, but there's still 3 high energy Templar there and another High Templar looking for the feedback. Note the storm. High Templar exposed! Great EMP lands. I think one of them still has enough energy for just one more Psy Storm, but yet again, the main base is undefended against the Prism. And we've been calling it out repeatedly in this series because it's been a big feature here. Is he's got to get further in front against these storm pushers, and he's got to leave his main defended against the Prism. Cura has done neither, and MAXPAX has shown if you are not on point with that, he will dismantle you. That was a game-winning Zealot drop. 33 SCVs have gone down. Cura's economy is in the dumpster. Did MAXPAX spend a lot of units? Yes, he did, but I think it was well worth it. Even gets a Ghost there for a Stalker, which is super worth. Double Forge upgrades. He's building Colossus out of 1 Robo. I think he has a second, doesn't he? No, he's still single Robo. But as long as he rebuilds High Templar, which he's not doing? Dude, Protoss Pro players hate rebuilding High Templar, don't they? It's like now he'll warp in 1 and energy recharge it, I guess. But I'm like, come on, bro. Storm's pretty important, man. A couple Stalkers do get picked off. Q's still got a big, scary army, but actually forcing the fight he needs is going to be so difficult. And this doesn't feel like it's the entire army here. The Vikings, the Marauders, the Ghosts trying to fight as best they can. EMPs on the Archons are excellent. Gotta watch out for that Psy Storm. Does land decently, but it doesn't hit most of the units. The Colossus goes down. The Bio in the tank actually cascading through here. And that Storm was so far behind the army. The 4th base so exposed. Dude, Q is actually going to take this base out. This would be such a Q game. To find himself in a good spot off the early push. End up then falling behind from the Warp Prism massively, as well as a frontal poke denying a lot of workers. Then does like this clutch push, gets crazy damage with it. But I think he needs to pull back and regroup before he forces the next fight. This army's out of healing, and it's a bit too small. If he loses this army on its own, he could be in trouble. It's going to be a tight fight here. This fight will decide the game most likely. Medevacs are all out of juice. The Marauders and the Marines are getting roasted by the Colossus. The Immortals and the Guardian Shield doing so much for Protoss. The Archon does go down. The Immortal's about to fall, though. Does he have enough to clear this? Q's reinforcements come in. I think MAXPAX might just have barely enough units to clean up this fight. Dude, he's trying to start a step away. That Colossus has done so much damage in this battle, and it feels like it's just enough there. Extended thermal outs, 2-1 upgrades are going to kick in. MAXPAX survives with a 14 worker advantage, and I think that fight was the one where Kua probably should have regrouped. I understand he wanted to get going with the tempo before more splash damage arrived. Keep trading, keep the armies small, so these Colossus are exposed and they don't have a lot of support, but I think he traded a bit worse than MAXPAX there. And it's just a shame these Medevacs need a bit of time to regen some energy to heal up the Bio. He's going to go for a second starport off of 45 workers. He knows that MAXPAX is incredibly Colossus dependent, and I think the way MAXPAX will win this game is if he makes 4 High Templar now, starts banking energy on them, he'll have enough energy to both storm and feedback the Bio army and protect his Colossus. But if he's banking purely on Colossus, there's 2 starport Viking Bio Ghost Timer, which is essentially a 48 worker, 3 base all in, super late. Like, there's no way Q is going. He's not even making +1 armor. He's not going to make an armory. There's a chance Q does take you out if you don't have enough storm to guard this army. You're making gases, probes, prisms, a few zealots. Obviously, MAXPAX can hold this. And he's up to 4 High Templar. Okay, he has made 4 High Templar now, so yes, and 2 of them have been energy recharged by the looks of things. That's good. Watch out. There's High Templar. High Templar coming forward. Great storm on the left side. High Templar does get EMP'd. This guy's going to come forwards, though. Another great storm. These storms just buy you so much time. MAXPAX has the superior income. Cops another EMP there, though. No feedbacks from MAXPAX today, which I think I want to be quite critical of. Guardian Shield goes down. The Colossus Zealot comes in from 2 sides. Stalker's Archon's going to take care of the Vikings. Beautiful engagement here from MAXPAX. The Bio trying to start a step away, but there's not enough Vikings to clear the Colossus. Not through the Guardian Shield. One Colossus finally falls. Actually, wait. The second Colossus goes down. There's still a lot of Bio alive. Did MAXPAX chase too far? I may have been completely miscalling that fight. That is my bad, guys. 77 army supply to 48. Pig's an idiot. EMP's really good. The EMPs did a lot, not to mention the nice stutter step and just enough Vikings to clear the Colossus. 1 Colossus pops out, only 2 Vikings left, and the Stalkers should clear it. But oh, the flanking storm! The flanking storm! Oh, my lord. Okay, the Colossus goes down, but all the bio's already being shredded. MAXPAX can now chase, clear these medevacs, and that will put him in the dust. You can get rid of those medevacs. That's big. 2 of them go down. There's only 1 medevac left. That is a disaster for a Terran player who needs that ongoing healing. An incredibly close, an incredibly clutch final best of 3. But MAXPAX fights back there, and once again, I think there's a clear weak spot here in Cua's game with the Warp Prism and with not kind of guarding his siege tanks on his defensive positions. That Warp Prism getting in was absolutely brutal. I know I didn't catch the Warp Prism initially when that was happening, so that's my bad, guys. Let me showcase that again. So it looks like the Prism split off, came around the left side, which is really good because a lot of people will guard this right, and I've talked about this for years. Back when MAXPAX on 2000 Atmospheres was wreaking havoc with his Prism, he'd always go in this side, and then people finally started defending this side, and I was like, and MAXPAX, do you guys remember, I used to call it the Maxi Taxi? Because it was every game, a full Prism would fly into the Terran base, MAXPAX wouldn't be watching it because he'd be microing his Stalkers on the map, and it would fly over like either a pack of Marines or a missile turret or a Widow Mine and a few Marines, and he would every game throw a full Prism with 4 Zealots into the meat grinder, and I was like, guys, and now it's 8 minutes, the Maxi Taxi is going to enter the main and go down. And it happened like 20 games in a row, and I was like, MAXPAX, go around the natural. No one's watching the natural. No one goes that side. In fact, Kua was prepared. He had a turret. So surely that shuts this down, right? Unfortunately, a missile turret on its own almost never stops a Warp Prism, guys. And that was nasty. He gets a few Zealots in the natural, and then he drops the rest in the main and warps in there as well. Meanwhile, MAXPAX managed to get this area. And to be fair, on this map, it's really hard to defend this left side and this right side at the same time. You could argue he could have put his siege tanks a little bit further out to try and cover forward a bit more, but that exposes the tanks to getting jumped on a bit easier as well. So there's always a catch-22. I don't, oh, what an idiot. Why doesn't he just do that? It's like, no, there's a good reason why he doesn't do that. But then the Zealots get in the main, and Kua just didn't seem to realize for way too long, man. Like, he just didn't really react. He was so stressed out by the High Templar. This looked very much like how I often lose my TVPs, is those Zealots get in the back and just all my workers are gone while I'm busy trying to avoid splash damage on the front. But Kua's in a pretty good spot up to this point. And hats off to MAXPAX for fighting back, guys. Wins the best of 5, 3-2, and then wins the final best of 3, 2-0, finally asserting some dominance and putting a stamp on that victory. GG, well played, MAXPAX.